If you were the last man awake, the night wouldn't reveal itself all at once. It would come in layers, thin at first, almost harmless, like the end of a long exhale, then deeper, heavier, until it presses against your ribs and settles behind your eyes like a weight you didn't notice growing. The others sleep behind you, if you can call it sleep. Some lie curled, others sprawled, some half sitting with their backs against crates or broken beams. In the dimness of the collapsing shed, every shape is a blur of cloth, boots, straps, and exhaustion. You know them, but not really. You know how they breathe, how they complain, the sound their boots make on frozen soil, but you don't know them the way you know the quiet. And tonight, the quiet knows you better than any of them. The cold is the first thing that reminds you you're still alive. It nips at your fingers, even inside the gloves, seeps through the sleeves, crawls across your shoulders. You shift slightly, but it doesn't help. Cold like this isn't weather, it's company. Your job is to stay awake, but you were never officially assigned to it. You just didn't fall asleep. And sometimes that's all it takes to be the one responsible. Hours stretch like wire under tension. Every sound becomes a message, and every silence becomes a question. You try not to answer either. Outside the walls, the forest breathes differently. Fog creeps along the ground, thick and slow, swallowing the bases of the trees until they looked like they're growing out of clouds. The moon hides behind a layer of gray, giving the world a color between metal and ash. Your hands tighten on the rifle even though nothing has happened yet. That's the thing. You never wait for the event. You wait for the shift. And tonight, the shift comes quietly. A branch breaks somewhere in the dark. Not loud, not violent, just enough to be wrong. You lean forward, pressing your shoulder against the wall as you look through a narrow crack between the boards. You adjust your breathing without thinking, making it quieter, slower. The fog moves like it has intention, sliding between the trunks, rolling over roots, curling around stones. Then you see it. A shape. Not clear, not detailed, just a vertical shadow that doesn't match the trees around it. A little too straight, a little too still. You feel the muscles in your back stiffen. Your breath catches for half a second. You don't blink. There's something about being watched that the body recognizes before the mind does. Some instinct older than memory, older than language. A tightening at the base of your skull. A coldness that has nothing to do with wind. The shape doesn't move. Not forward, not sideways, just stands. Minutes stretch. Your heartbeat becomes the loudest thing in the shed. You wonder if the others would hear it if they were awake. Probably not. Men this tired sleep like stones. A gust of wind slips through the wall and brushes your neck. It feels like a hand. You don't lift your rifle yet. There's a difference between fear and caution. Fear reacts. Caution listens. You choose to listen. The shape finally shifts, slowly, like someone turning to look at something behind them. It steps deeper into the fog, and then the fog thickens, and it's gone. You sit back, but not fully. Your body stays half forward, as if expecting the night to answer with something else. But nothing comes. Not for a long time. You force yourself to relax your grip on the rifle. The metal is colder than your hands, and your fingers ache from how tightly you were holding it. time moves strangely after that. You don't drift off, but you hover somewhere just above sleep, awake enough to notice every small shift in the air, but too tired to assign meaning to any of them. An owl calls somewhere far off. Frost creaks on a beam above your head. Someone behind you mutters in their sleep. Normal things. Everything is normal again. And yet something inside you refuses to settle. When dawn finally begins its slow crawl, turning the fog from silver to pale yellow, you stand and stretch your legs. Your knees crack like old wood. Stepping outside takes effort, not because you're scared, but because you're not sure what you expect to see. The ground is wet from melted frost. Leaves glisten. Your boot prints lie behind you, trailing from the shed. But out in the trees, where the shapes stood, there's nothing. No impressions, no tracks, no broken twigs, no signs of weight or movement. The fog is lifting, and the forest is blank, innocent, untouched. It bothers you more than if you had found something. One of the guys inside wakes up, coughs, curses softly, asks if the night was quiet. You answer automatically, yeah, quiet. Because some stories don't make sense unless you lived the minutes before them. Being the last man awake isn't about strength or discipline. It's not about keeping watch or protecting others. It's about meeting the part of yourself that only shows up when you're alone. The part that notices what your mind tries to ignore. The part that listens to things that might not make noise. The part that understands the night in a way that daylight never will. If you were there, sitting in the cold with the fog shifting across the ground like a living thing, you'd know the truth. Sometimes the most unsettling presence in the dark isn't a stranger or a shadow or something waiting in the trees. Sometimes it's the version of yourself that only comes out when everyone is asleep.